Some reaction, predictable, you could say, from political parties. But Malusi Gigaba would have been aware of the heat that is certainly now going to come to him. Last week, he came out guns blazing, saying really he was not going to go anywhere. He wasn't going to go without a fight. He met with the president, produced a report or some presentation on Fire Blade. Is it your sense that now that he's out in the cold, so to speak, out of cabinet, that he will definitely have questions to answer?
Look, I suspect that the issues that really relate to Malusi Gigaba are not just limited to Fire Blade. There are serious issues that he has to answer to relating to really how the Gupta network was allowed to really infiltrate multiple aspects of government. And you've seen even this particular week with Barbara Hogan testifying out there, in that Barbara Hogan is literally leading us to a position where she's saying that there were all these issues that related to SOEs that she objected to, that President Zuma wanted, and of course she, on principle, as far as she puts it, said that these things cannot be done. And of course, the president fired her and replaced her with Malusi Gigaba, who inadvertently may not have been aware that he was really being parachuted into positions where he literally then had to make things happen that the president wanted to do and the previous minister didn't want to do. So of course, from the follow-up of Barbara Hogan's testimony, we're then going to have to come and ask the question, well, did Malusi Gigaba become aware of the issues that Barbara Hogan had been defying the president on, and did he make those things happen? And if it turns out that those things did happen, then we have to evaluate the two testimonies and figure out whether his conduct in his capacity as the Minister of Public Enterprises was commensurate with the skills and the responsibilities, pardon you, for what his position warranted. And I think that, of course, for him just being exiled from cabinet right now is remarkably on the basis of one issue, but there's so many other issues relating to him having been a cabinet minister since he was a deputy in 2004 that he has to account for.
Look, there's still much for you and I to discuss, but also this idea of what two ministers now in really the last month, we haven't seen that kind of action, for 10 years nearly. Is the Tuma Mina campaign starting to gain momentum, do you think?
Look, one of voluntary. I still think that Minister Nena really decided that it was in the best interest of the country and the party for him to walk away, while this one in particular seems to have been forced by circumstances. And you saw, as you mentioned earlier on, last week he was still of the opinion that he was going to go all guns blazing and fight against. Yeah, he said they'll be held to pay if anyone exiled him from cabinet. So of course you get the impression that the circumstances superseded him, where people then eventually came to him and say, look, on the basis of what the public protector has said and what the Constitutional Court has said, and really the facts that are still going to emanate from the Commission of Inquiry into state capture, you probably don't have a position to maintain here. So I do think that it was not a matter of Malusi Gigaba looking at Nhlanhla and saying, oh, this becomes a new moral parameter for the ANC. It was simply him being convinced otherwise to say, actually, you no longer have a position to sustain in this government.
Has a deal been struck? What does this mean for the ANC? More questions for you to answer. Khaya Sithole, our analyst, is staying with us in studio as we get more reaction to the resignation of Minister Malusi Gigaba as the helm, or rather from the helm of Home Affairs.